I want to thank everybody who brought food. Everything was delicious, way more food than we needed. Thank you, Jan, for the cakes and Kathy for the graduation cookies. In this afternoon session, we're going to start off with the gym awards, then we're going to have the science fair awards, and then we'll have the graduation time. But before we get to that, so I don't forget, ladies, because some of you couldn't be at the meeting this morning, in the Leland room where we meet, there's gifts for you on each place setting. So don't forget to take your gifts home with you. And if you weren't here during the meeting, make sure you go over there and get your gifts. Those are from me to you, because I just wanted to say that I appreciate everything you do all year. Like I said this morning in the classroom, I've been in homeschool groups before where you have to assign everybody things to help with. Well, I've never had to do that because by the time I come out of my classroom, usually the ladies have already pitched in and started cleaning up, and I never even have to ask for help to do things. They just all step in and do what they need to do. So I just want you all to know I appreciate you and all that you do all year long. And then the gifts that I had earlier for the teachers, that was from me because I wanted you guys just support me and help me and do everything with me and keep me on track. And but we missed one gift because he wasn't here yet, and that's Pastor. We do have something for you because we wanted to say thank you for coming to chapel every month and being with the kids. And I've heard all about this soldier theme that you're doing. So thank you very much, Pastor. And I just want to say it's just such a blessing to be in a church that supports their homeschoolers the way this church has, from the pastor to even people who have nothing to do with the homeschooling. They'll ask me, do you need some supplies? Can we do this for you? Can we do that? So it's just a real blessing. And even having all these judges here today. So it's just a real privilege to be in a church that supports the homeschoolers, because that isn't always the case. So we are ready to move on to our afternoon session, and we will start with Miss Micheline and the gym awards.
Thank you. So make sure I have all my stuff. Most of you know we did an exercise-a-thon in March, and the kids were asked to get pledges for their activities, and then the money that was raised from that went to our missions program. For those of you who don't know, we raised $700 doing that. So that was way beyond, way beyond my expectations for that. I just wanted I wanted them to have a reason to do the exercises. All of you remember doing the physical fitness test in school, I'm sure, and none of that is especially fun, although these kids apparently thought it was. So I thought the raising money thing would make it a fun way to do it, but I also wanted to reward them for what they did. So those who did the most in each category are getting a certificate and a little gift today. So we're going to start with the most push-ups, and I divided the kids into 6th grade and below and 7th grade and above. So for the 6th grade and below, the most push-ups was Rosalie Coldy. Come on up here. So, sorry, I'm a mess. You have a little water bottle that looks like a dumbbell and a certificate, and please just stay up here, okay? Thank you. In the oldest kids, I forgot to have Miss Christina sign these little official certificates, so sorry, guys. In the oldest kids category for most push-ups, Zach Bober. So here you go. I hope that's not too heavy for you. All right. The next category is the most crunches, and the winner in the youngest age group was Brandon Coldy. And for the oldest group, the most crunches was done by Addie Coldy. Good job. Everybody needs more water bottles, right? Okay, now the next category is the most jump ropes. And just so you know, they had 1 minute to do as many as they could in each of those categories, as well as the jump rope. So for the youngest age group, the most jump rope jumps in 1 minute was Rosalie Coldy. And I did not think Rosalie needed 2 water bottles. So she gets these water balloons. And I'm sorry, siblings, you're about to be targets. I'm sure Rosie doesn't mind that. And for the oldest kids, the most jump rope jumps was Jonathan Schultz. You're welcome. And last but not least, I don't know where my head was when I planned this. It was 15 minutes of running laps around the Zeller building. That's a lot of laps. 15 minutes is a long time to run. If you're a runner, that's like 2.5 miles. Like, that's a lot of running if you're actually a runner. So I don't know where I was coming up with that time frame, but they did a great job. They worked so hard at it. In the youngest age group, the most laps was Christopher Fox. You're welcome. And in the oldest age group, the most laps was Jay Coldy. So these guys are awesome. I've heard from several. They want to do it again. So I feel like we're probably going to do this next year again. And good job, you guys. You all worked super hard, and I'm very proud of you. If the moms are done with pictures, you can sit down. Should I just go ahead and have Brother Tim? Brother Tim is going to be our spokesperson for the judges, and he's going to give out the awards for the science fair.
First of all, I want to say, you have any questions? I enjoyed the kids so much. We've got a great bunch of kids here. If you don't know it, it shows. How they can sit there on the front pew and behave, just that in itself is unbelievable in our world that we live in today. So whoever didn't get something today, don't look at it as, oh, gee, I didn't do as good as what I like to. I would like for you to remember one thing. You do the best you can. God gives us all different gifts. And some of the gifts we got, some people can speak, other people can do different things. Other people are unspoken but do a lot of work around the church. Find what you want to do and do something for the Lord. That's the most important thing. And do it 100%. If you do it the best you can, maybe somebody's more talented and can do something better, but at least you're doing the best you can. And while you're off this summer and enjoying your summertime, do something for your folks daily. Think of something you could do for your folks. Might be pick something up, just something simple that you do to help them out, or even get up in the morning. Wouldn't it be great to pray for your mom and dad each morning as a group? If you're more than one sibling, something we can do for the Lord. And find a niche here you can also do. We have individuals here that you see do multiple tasks here at the church. And I'd like to challenge you kids to do something, have a plan this summer that's something you could do here at the church or volunteer for to help out. I know a lot of you do music and other stuff, but just keep that on your mind this summer. And hopefully, like each one here today, I learned something from the presentations that all you kids did. And we should try to learn one thing each day, something you can put by to accumulate over the years. So when you get out in the world, you'll have a lot more knowledge. So I just want to praise all you kids for all you did and the great job for that. So I want to give the kids a hand for that. Great job. Okay, we're going to do the K through ages. Second place, Ellie Fox. If she could come up here, please. There you go, Ellie. Great job. You got any questions for me? No, okay. Well, you can just stand there and be good. Just look pretty. You're good at doing that. In first place, Natalie Whitaker. You have any questions for me? No, you don't. That's good. All right, we'll go through the third to sixth grade. Honorable mention, Elijah Mullinex. Thank you. I'm not going to ask you if you got any questions for me. All right, third place, Christopher Fox. I don't know whether you noticed this when we did the presentations. Christopher used his head when he walked up here. I don't know how many of you guys noticed that. When he brought that picture up of the astronaut, you saw him going like he was going to put it on the table, and he realized it wasn't going to sit there. So I thought it was great that he improvised and set it down there and leaned it up against. Anybody else catch that? Okay. All right. Okay. Second place, Nathan Whitaker. Hey, Red, how you doing? And first place, Jackson King. Okay, we're going to the 7th and the 12th grade. Honorable mention, Daniel Whitaker. Great job. Okay, we have Jonathan Schultz. What's H2O stand for? Water. That's it. Just checking. Just checking. Just checking. All right, we have for second place, Kyle Mullinex. So that outfit means you're gadgeated. Is that what that means? Going to be graduated. Gadgeated. It's a West Virginia term. Okay. Good job. All right. And last but not least, first place is Wesley Whitaker, the potato farmer. You do know mashed potatoes used to be a dance years ago? No. Okay. All right. Great jobs. Give them a hand for the kids. All right. You can be seated.
Are completely gone from our minds and we move on to graduation, I have a gift for each of the judges just to thank them for their time. So if you guys would all just come up here, I don't want to walk to you. So please come up here. They're like, oh my gosh, do I have to? Of course, I had to put names on these and make it hard on myself.
Thank you.
Miss Becky.
Brenda, Tim. Thank you.
I have literally been talking to these guys for 8 months about this. Like we've been talking for a long time, and I think they were all a little bit nervous to do this, but I'm very proud of them. They did a great job. They took it very seriously, and thank you.
track. Okay, so it is time for the graduation presentation. I just want to say that it's been a pleasure having both of these boys in E-Club for so long. Just watching them grow, watching them learn, become young men. And something's going on that I don't know about. So our first graduate that we're going to have up here is Zach Bober and his family. For Zach, I have Are you going to? Did you want to do something?
Yeah, can I do it again?
Do over.
I'll be back.
I don't know what's going on. Okay. All right. Yay. Okay. Okay, so Zach has been here now and his family with us for 3 years. They're one of the families that do not go to our church, but they just seem like they've been here for so long. You just seem like such a part of us. I wish your mom could fail you this year and you could stay a couple more years. But anyhow, with that. To be debated. Okay. So for E-Club, we have for you a certificate of achievement. This is not a high school diploma. This is a graduation from E-Club or Epaphroditus Club. And it's just awarded to Zachary Bover for his achievement in Epaphroditus Club. So, and we also have a gift for you, Zach. This is for you. This is from all of E-Club. And I'm just so proud of that. You know, he's become, you can see him and both Kyle, both of them have just become such leaders in our group. And I'm just so proud of you both. And now I'm going to give the platform over to you and your family for whatever you are going to do.
Hello. Thank you for those kind words and this gift. I didn't expect that. But give me 1 second. All right. Greetings, teachers, classmates, mothers, and family. Today is a day I knew would come, but I did not expect it to come so soon. These 2 years in which I attended E-Club have been enjoyable and full of great times and events. When writing this speech, I couldn't help but think of the blessing it was to have this homeschool co-op. My experience with E-Club helped me as a fellow homeschooler to create friends, enjoy learning, and go to field trips in which I learned the abundance of history in just the local area of Hamilton. I've never thought about how important stuff like that was until recently. Whether I was a headache to deal with through the years or not is to be debated, but I must admit having people around my age to laugh and to call friends has been a joy. Looking back, I've noticed truly how much a blessing it was to join. Having a godly Baptist co-op is a major blessing in itself, and having Christian mothers who love their children and want to teach them the best is even better. We could have been sent to public school like every other kid, been indoctrinated by the world's ideology or having the fear of our safety, but we were not sent because our mothers loved us so much that they would dedicate their lives to us that we may be able to learn godly values and principles. Those godly principles are what shaped me to be different from the world. That home environment is what made me realize the importance of God and family and how those two together joined create something much sweeter. The mothers in this program are soldiers, whether we realize it or not, and I for one salute them. I want to thank Mrs. Schultz, Pastor Pittman, and the teachers for volunteering and helping this program. The reality is you did not have to do this. The fact that you wanted to make a Christian co-op for children like us would give me even more respect to you. Preparation for your classes and activities have been commendable, and I don't say that because it's the right thing to say, but I say it because I mean it. Through well-prepared devotions from Pastor Pittman, to gym activities with Miss Shalene, to arts and crafts with Mrs. Fox, and baking skills from Mrs. Molinex through the years, you guys made that school year fun and interesting, and I thank you for that. The next chapter of my life is starting soon, and I'm both excited and terrified. I have plans for trade school and career paths that I prepared, but plans can change, or they could fall apart before me. No matter what happens or where God leads me, I am determined to be a servant to Him and to follow Him. God has placed me here for a reason and has set godly ministers and adults for me to admire in this co-op. I promise not to forget you all and strive to be someone who is worthy to be called a Christian through my lifestyle. I thank you, Bible Way Missionary Baptists and Epaphroditus Club. I think I got that pronunciation right, for your love and kindness to me. Thank you. Before I go, I have a few gifts for the teachers to show my appreciation. Mrs. Molinex. I have a gift for Mrs. Janet Fox. And Miss Shalene, come on up. Thank you.
Thank you.
And last but not least, Mrs. Schultz for putting this all together. Oops. Thank you. I'll be singing a song called My Redeemer is Faithful and True. This song means a lot to me and explains my life so far. As I look back on this road I've traveled, I see so many times you carry me through. And if there's one thing that I've learned in my life, my Redeemer is faithful and true. My Redeemer is faithful and true. And everything He has said He will do. And every morning His mercies are new. My Redeemer is faithful and true. My heart rejoices when I read the promise. There's a place that I'm preparing for you. I know someday I'll see my Lord face to face. My Redeemer is faithful and true. My Redeemer is faithful and true. Everything He has said He will do. And every morning His mercies are new. My Redeemer is faithful and true. And in every situation, He has proved His love for me. When I lack the understanding, He gives more grace to me. My Redeemer is faithful and true. And everything He has said He will do. And every morning His mercies are new. My Redeemer is faithful and true. My Redeemer is faithful and true.
Thank you, Zach. I've never heard that song. That was a blessing. That was a really good song. And so we are ready for our next graduate, who will be coming in just a moment. Oh. Yay. Okay, as y'all know, this is Kyle Mullinex, and he's been with eClub since the very first year. And so, you know how Facebook has those memories that keep coming up, and about this time, I'm seeing the memories from the past talent shows. And you were just such a little bitty guy. So, as I said before, I'm so proud of these young men, the men they have become, the leaders they've become in the classes, and seeing them use their talents for the Lord. We do have a certificate for you as well, Kyle, and a gift. Once again, this is a Epaphroditus Club graduation certificate. And here's a gift for you. There we go. All right. And Kathy, of course. Are you going to come up here now? Okay, so I'm going to pass this over to Kathy. That's Dana said to me, "Is this Christmas or something?" I said, "This is the gift givenest group I've ever seen." Do you want this, Kathy?
All right, before I do things for Kyle, I do want to give Christina a gift. I'm going to come back up. This is from the moms. So I thought this gift bag was so pretty. It reminded me of Christina because she just is a pretty lady and loves pretty things. And there's a card here for you.
Thank you.
And then there's also these flowers are so pretty. And if you know Christina, she loves flowers and spring. So those are for you as well.
Usually she manages to surprise me, but this time the smell gave you.
I know. You can. These flowers smell amazing. They really do.
Thank you so much. Thank you, ladies. How are you?
I don't know if you want to put that back in there to carry it, maybe. So that's from the moms and children of eClub, and we appreciate you more than we could ever say. I also have something here for both Kyle and Zach. I got them each a Hershey bar just because I knew they probably like chocolate. And then there's ink pens that have a scripture on them. And then Zach and his family gave Kyle this orange cord to wear on his cap and gown. And I believe you said that stood for creativity. for homeschooling. And so our family got Zach a little music note pen, if you want to come up and get this, because you are amazingly talented by God, as we all just saw. So always use your talents for God. So there, yes. And then for Kyle, how many of you know what Kyle's really into? What's his favorite thing to talk about? History. So I got Kyle a history pen to wear on his lapel. And then there's also a chocolate bar and an ink pen for you. There you go. And then I would just like to thank each of you for the roles you've played in Kyle's life growing up. We came to Bible Way in 2011. So that's been, I guess, 12 years ago now? Wow. So Kyle was a member of the first E-Club that we had, I believe, in 2013. We chose public school for Kyle until second grade. And it was fine, really, looking back up to that point. But I knew that the older he got, just worldly things would start being taught more and more, and just the environment overall. I grew up in a Christian school, and I was amazed. I had never been in a public school till he was in the public school. And just the coldness, and I don't want to bash public schools, I really don't, but there's just a difference. And just the coldness walking in, like there's no hello, I'm glad you're here, you know, I love you, that kind of thing. It's just all business. So I'm so thankful that I was able to take him out of that environment and homeschool him these years. And then I'm thankful for Eric for having a job that allows me to stay home with my children. And I just want to thank each of you. I mean, every single one of you in here has had some type of impact on his life in a positive way. So we appreciate you. And for today, Kyle has a short speech, and then he wants to do his history presentation, surprise, surprise, for his talent. So, all right, start your speech if you'd like.
I have no words. Well, I'm going to miss coming here. I do want to become a history professor because that is my strength for some reason. It just happened to be the subject that most people think is boring. I try to make it as exciting. Sometimes I over-exaggerate the stuff that I tell you guys back there. So I'm going to trust the Lord throughout my whole life. I hope he takes me down that path, but if he doesn't, then okay. I'm fine with that. I don't control that, he does. So, for my last big hoorah here at E-Club, I decided to do one more big history presentation. So, I'll just go ahead and do that. This one right now. I do that. Stick that. Okay. For my last big history thing, I just wanted to talk about both world wars. Something big. I tried to make it as simple as possible, but even then it still has a lot of stuff. 2 pages worth. So I hope Most of you can bear with me while I do this. If you fall asleep, I don't blame you. Alrighty. The reason why I want to tell you about the world wars is because they had, and still do, they had a big impact on the modern day. And it all started in mid-July 1914 in this little country right here of Bosnia. The Emperor of Austria-Hungary, which was Austria-Hungary and like a dozen others, was assassinated by a Serbian nationalist. The country of Serbia was wanting to unite all of the Slavic lands. Does any of you know what Slavic people are? Do you know, young man in the pinkish red shirt? Gee, good job. Basically, it's Russians and people very similar to Russians. That's the most simplest I can put it. Serbia wanted to unite all the Slavic people in Austria-Hungary, and they thought by killing the heir to the throne would be the best solution. But instead, Austria-Hungary blamed the government for sending the assassin and declared war on Serbia on July 28, 1914. But the Russian Empire was a Slavic country itself and did not like an attack on their Slavic brothers and declared war on Austria. But Germany, the ally of Austria-Hungary, then declared war on Russia because it's been fighting Russia for a little while and a few littler wars. And France got dragged in because of their alliance with Russia to go to war with Germany and Austria-Hungary. So it's France, Russia, and Serbia against Germany and Austria-Hungary. Germany had a plan to destroy France by invading through neutral Belgium and attacking France from the north, where defenses were non-existent. But Britain, Belgium's ally, declared war on Germany. Everyone thought that this was going to be a short war, over by Christmas, almost everyone said. But when the British defenses arrived and were built in France, and the German soldiers kept sending out more troops over and over and over, everyone soon realized that it was going to be a very long war. Germany, Austria and Hungary, and Turkey, which used to be known as the Ottoman Empire, the one right here, created the Central Powers because they're kind of in the central part of Europe. And Britain, France, and Russia created the Triple Entente powers. It's a French name. I have a terrible French accent. As time went on, Japan wanted to take all of the German colonies in Asia and join the Entente side and actually declared war on Germany. A year later, Italy ended up joining the war on the Entente side because they wanted more land. That was really the only reason. And later that same year, this small country called Bulgaria, which a lot of historians forget about, joined on the Central Power side. By 1916, the Germans launched two major offensives to try and destroy France by sending over 100,000 divisions of German troops. But Germany lost both battles. Britain showed off their very first tanks, which no other country really had at the time. By 1917, the Russian Empire had suffered defeat after defeat, and after when the government decided to shoot at a peaceful anti-war protest, the people knew that they had to do something about it. So in October 1917, a man named Vladimir Lenin, I always have trouble pronouncing his name for some reason. We're just going to call him Lenin for short. He started a revolution and had peace talks with the Central Powers. Russia then went into a long, bloody civil war which now meant that they were officially out of the Civil War. Now, all the German troops that were fighting Russia could be fully devoted on France. It was at this time when Germany was getting a little worried that America, who, by the way, was doing nothing at this time, because we have like neutral laws, we don't want to get involved in anything. But Germany was still afraid that the United States was going to declare war on Germany. So they decided to send a secret message to, you know what country they wanted to send a secret message to? Yep, because as you know, Mexico is so strong against us. They have like, who am I kidding? They have a terrible army, even back then. Our army was poor and weak. But they also sent one to Japan. However, British code breakers found the message first and gave it to America. This got America involved in the war, and America eventually declared war on the Central Powers on April 1st, 1917. The Germans, now with all the troops finally coming back from Russia, launched one more desperate attack to defeat France before the American troops arrived, but they ended up losing. Now that with the Americans here, the Central Powers were soon collapsing, and on November 11th, 1918, they all surrendered. The Great War, as it was called, was now over with an Entente victory. Germany became a republic. Austria-Hungary simply didn't exist anymore. And Turkey and Bulgaria lost almost all their lands. They were put under strict military laws not to do anything militarily. Time went on, the 1920s went by, nothing really happened there. Then in 1933, the president of the German Republic died due to old age. He was older than Joe Biden. Seriously, look at his pictures. This caused his vice president to take place. His name was Adolf Hitler, a crazy Austrian painter that went insane and was thrown into jail but then let out early because he was already popular in the government. And he was very mad that Germany lost World War I. In 1936, he did everything that the British and French told him not to do. But since Britain and France didn't want to suffer another big loss of life, like what happened in the First World War, they did nothing about it. Germany then annexed. Does anyone know what that word annexed means? Yes, the man in the pinkish red shirt again. Yeah, basically. They annexed all of Austria, which united all of the German people, and then they annexed all of the newly founded Czechoslovakia Republic. Finally, Hitler wanted Poland, but Poland was the first country to refuse. So on September 1st, 1939, Hitler invaded Poland. He signed a peace deal with the new Russian leader, which Russia was now called the Soviet Union. He signed a peace deal with the leader of the Soviet Union, Joseph Stalin, promising each other that they wouldn't attack each other for 10 years. Remember that, because that's going to come in play later. And a thing that most people don't know about is that Stalin actually helped Hitler invade Poland by invading the East. The whole world was shocked by this. Then Germany decided to invade France again, the exact same way that they were going to do in World War I. Invade Belgium, where defenses were non-existent, and attack from the north. Britain and France had a much bigger army than they did in the First World War. But they also had the exact same technology as in the First World War, which was all outdated at this point. The Germans had new and better technology, and France surrendered in only 6 weeks. Now, Britain was all alone. By this reaction, Italy, which didn't get enough land like what they were promised from the First World War, joined Germany, and Japan soon followed. They created the Axis powers. Italy was terrible at everything, worse than Mexico. So Germany had to do all their work. Believe me, read that in any history book. It will tell you. In June 1941, Hitler invaded the Soviet Union. 2 years went by since they first signed their peace deal, which was supposed to last 10 years. Stalin was surprised by this and spent 11 whole days in isolation. Germany sent over 3 million soldiers, and after a few months, they reached all the way to the border of Moscow. Not the actual city, they were like right at the border of it. Germany was doing great at this point. They had all of Europe under their control. Nothing could possibly go wrong, right? On December 7th, 1941, Japan thought it would be a good idea to fight America. And since Germany and Japan were allies, Germany felt like it had to declare war on America too, so that it did. Big mistake. The Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor, and America joined the war on Britain's side. America, Britain, and the Soviets created the alliance simply known as the Allies. America soon invaded German-controlled North Africa by attacking a city right here called Casablanca. They pushed all the way east. While the British, they were here, they attacked over to the west, eventually meeting up with the American lines. Meanwhile, in the Pacific, the Americans once won their first major naval battle against the Japanese at Midway. Eventually, the Americans and British, I should just say the Allies, pushed all the Axis forces out of North Africa and invaded mainland Italy itself. And if Italy was bad fighting a war when it had all the resources it needed, think about whenever their own country's getting invaded and they lost all their resources. They got worse throughout the war, I'm just saying that. But once the Americans conquered Rome, Italy was then knocked out of the war. America was beating the Japanese at almost every turn. They retook the Philippine Islands. There. They retook the Philippine Islands, which was once under American control. And on June 6, 1944, a combined army of American, British, and Canadian soldiers invaded German-occupied France at Normandy. They soon retook the entire country. The Soviets eventually pushed back the Germans and all the way back to their border with Poland. The Soviets reached the German main capital of Berlin, and after 16 long days of fighting, the Soviets took the entire city. Hitler then committed suicide, and the Axis were completely defeated in Europe. Now it was only Japan. America already took some of the Japanese home islands of Iwo Jima and Okinawa. Now all that was left was Japan itself. America did have an invasion plan to invade Japan itself, but in 1945, America released their new secret weapon on the Japanese city of Hiroshima. Anyways, they launched the first ever atomic bomb on Hiroshima and another one on Nagasaki. The Japanese, after these two atomic bombings, did not surrender. But then the Soviet Union decided now would be a good time to declare war on Japan. And after invading Japanese-owned China right here, the Japanese, which were terrified of communism at the time, surrendered to the Americans. The war was finally over. Over 100 million people died in both world wars. The Soviets alone lost 11 million of these people. Half of that death toll were civilians that were forced to fight. And all of this happened. All this secret messages to Mexico for some reason, Italy being bad, and Hitler wanting revenge. All of that happened simply because a Serbian nationalist killed the heir to the throne of what is now a long forgotten empire. The end. I brought some books. If some of you want to take some of the books home with you, you can. Please try not to be too rough with them. But if they accidentally get ripped or anything, that's fine. I mean, when the Lord comes back, he's going to burn all that remains on earth. So you can't do more damage than that.
Okay, that bothers me that for the kids they put it up here and then I have to take it down here. So anyways, in closing, I want to remind the ladies, don't forget your gifts over in the Leland room. Thank you everybody for all the gifts. Does anybody else have a gift to give? And just keeps on giving. Thank you to all the kids. You all did a wonderful job in the science fair. Moms, you did a great job working with them. Thank you to the graduates. I enjoyed both of your presentations and your speeches. You can see how God has given you different talents that you can use for Him going forward. And just thank you all for being here today. I know it's a long day. Oh. Yes, get your art stuff, get your display stuff. Anything else, teachers? Micheline? Oh. Okay. We use it for Russian Bibles. No, the money we collected for the exercise-a-thon, we used to give to missionaries that were just here. Did it go to the parents or did it go to the Elims, the Brianna and, okay, we had a young couple here. If any of you know the Sturms, Brianna's their daughter, and then Brother Elam, his family is missionaries to Russia. And right now they can't get into Russia at the moment, so they're over in Mason to a large Russian-speaking population. And so the money was used to buy Bibles, Russian Bibles for them. And does anybody else have anything before we close? Pastor, did you want to say anything since you weren't here at the beginning? Okay, so thank you all again. Also, I'm sorry, I don't know, Zach, I don't know your brother's name. Thank you for doing the sound booth back there, and thank you, Eric, for doing it. We had the two graduating fathers. Brother Eric opened us up. Brother Bober, if you would like to close us in prayer and ask God's blessing on our graduates.